I was the quintessential troubled teen in those youthful pain novels, the one who smoked, skipped class, and got abortions, the busted school beauty. Just a few days ago, Xue Nanyu, who had kissed me, turned around and asked me to seduce their class's aloof and unapproachable class president, Jiang Xin. Because he was the crush of the girl Xue Nanyu liked, in my previous life, I caused Jiang Xin to miss his college entrance exam and ruin his future. This time around, I dyed my hair back to black, put on a long skirt, and obediently sat beside him, class president. Take me with you to Tsinghua University. Later on, Jiang Xin and I were seen together frequently. Xue Nanyu, mad with jealousy, exclaimed, Su Tang, have you become addicted to acting? Jiang Xin wrapped his arm around my waist and said, is he that idiot who scored 3 points on the math test? Tang Tang, stay away from him, don't catch his stupidity. It was when I realized I was just the fallen school beauty from those teenage angst novels, who smoked and skipped classes. I was being kissed by Xue Nanyu in the men's restroom stall. He kissed me fiercely, his hand sneaking into my collar, even ripping off 2 buttons from my school uniform. All because today, Lin Xiexia had rejected his confession. She confessed that the person she truly liked was their class leader, Jiang Xin. Xue Nanyu, with his roguish charm, had almost dated every pretty girl at school, but this was the first time he was thwarted by a timid, innocent, little white rabbit. Frustrated and with nowhere to vent, he pulled me into the men's restroom and kissed me without waiting. In my past life, it was in this cramped and dirty place that I lost my virginity. Later, due to an accidental pregnancy, I died of excessive bleeding during an abortion at a small clinic. Thinking of this, I kneed him hard between his legs. The boy, caught in his desires, yelped in pain, Su Tang, what are you doing? I glared at him, it's dirty. Xue Nanyu glanced around impatiently and said, TSK, what a hassle, let's change the location next time. Xue Nanyu, I meant, you're dirty, I said disgustedly, wiping my lips violently with the back of my hand. Then I kicked open the door of the restroom stall and walked out, not wanting to stay another second with him. Xue Nanyu, incredulous, widened his eyes, Su Tang, what are you pretending for? Weren't you the one who just said my kisses felt great? What, you got addicted to playing the part with Jiang Xin? Forget it. I hurried back to the classroom to rinse my mouth, not bothering to deal with him. It was during evening self-study. When I entered, all my classmates turned to look at me. Feeling uncomfortable, I sat back in my seat and noticed the seat next to me was empty. I asked the person behind me, where's Jiang Xin? The head teacher called him away. What for? Qi Weilong widened his eyes. Have you lost your memory? The monthly test results came out, and Jiang Xin dropped more than 400 places. Of course, he was called in for a talking to. What? Memories of my past life flooded back. On the day of the monthly test, I fainted from low blood sugar and was taken to the infirmary by a teacher. When I groggily woke up, I saw Jiang Xin sitting upright beside me. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be at the exam? I turned in a blank paper. Jiang Sen's voice was calm, as if he was discussing something not very important. He leaned over to tuck me in and asked, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere else? I'm dizzy. I deliberately made it difficult for him. Jiang Sen, I want to eat sugar now. Pear and osmanthus candy from the store in the north of the city. Okay. Without hesitation, he got up to make the purchase. Later, when the monthly test scores were released, he scored 0 in the comprehensive science section, falling from first in the grade to beyond 400th place for the first time. He also received a severe disciplinary action for climbing over the school wall and leaving the campus, a violation of school rules. At that time, I spitefully thought to myself, good, the top student has fallen from grace. Even the teachers who used to like him started to dislike him. Xue Nan would surely be pleased. And now, director, I'm sorry. It's all my fault, I gasped as I burst into the office, bowing deeply to the head teacher. It was me who told Jiang Sin not to go to the exam and me who made him climb the wall to buy things for me. He's a good student who follows the rules. It was me who threatened him, saying if he didn't do as I said, I would have thugs outside the school teach him a lesson. I'm sorry, director, any punishment should go on my record, not his. He's supposed to apply to Tsinghua University, and his record can't have any blemishes. I was already known as a bad student with a terrible reputation in school, so getting involved in more trouble wasn't surprising. The head teacher believed my story without doubt, sent Jiang Sin back to the classroom, and then scolded me harshly. He said Jiang Sin was a rare super genius, a glory and hope for the school, with limitless potential. He told me, a good for nothing, to stay away from him, not to be a stumbling block on his bright future path. I earnestly nodded in agreement, knowing the terrible consequences of not doing so from my past life. As I walked out of the office, Jiang Sen's cold voice came from behind. Why did you lie for me? I turned to look at him. It turned out he hadn't left. He had been waiting here for me all along. The summer breeze swept through the hallway, ruffling his hair, his familiar eyes, like a deep, wise autumn night lake, yet oddly tinged with starlight, made me recall my past life. In my previous life, I and Xuannan accidentally got pregnant and were found out by the school and our parents. We were just 19, panicked and clueless. The class teacher and our parents pressed me to reveal the father of the child, so I falsely claimed it was Jiangsun. Since Xuannan disliked Jiangsun, I disliked him too. I thought it wouldn't hurt to let him take the blame. I comforted myself with this thought, of course. The class teacher didn't believe my lies, convinced of Jiangsun's character, and vehemently accused me of lying. After all, with my notorious past and questionable morals, I was truly a bad student. But when he actually brought Jiangsun to confront the situation, Jiangsun just quietly looked at me and softly said, "Su Tang isn't lying, it's mine." I turned my face away guiltily, but what Jiangsun faced was a torrent of abuse and beating from my parents, the class teacher. Ashen-faced and furious, stormed off. Jiangsun was punished twice, and the school transferred the recommendation spot reserved for him to the second-ranked student. And on the day of the college entrance exam, coinciding with my death on the operating table, he, like during that monthly test, submitted a blank paper. "I'm so sorry. Jiangsun, I'm really sorry." Emotions surged, my voice choked. I sincerely apologized to him. Jiangsun furrowed his brows and walked over. "What did the head teacher say to you?" I struggled to hold back my tears. "He told me to stay away from you, to stop bothering you." "Did you agree?" I nodded. I had once dragged Jiangsun into hell, tarnishing his reputation. Missing the college entrance exam seemed like a destroyed future, but now, there's still time as long as I make the boundaries clear with him, steer clear of him, and stop bringing him trouble. Jiangsun's gaze darkened, his fingers loosened then clenched. "Su Tang, when did you start listening to the teachers so intently?" he asked. "I'm doing this for your own good. You'll understand later," I replied without further explanation, hurrying back to the classroom to pack up my things and move to a seat in the back corner. When Jiangsun returned, he found my desk empty. He pursed his lips and remained silent, focusing on solving problems and reading as usual. Lin Xiaxia, seeing the situation, walked over with her workbook, her voice soft and gentle. "Class leader, I'm stuck on this physics question, could you help me?" She was about to sit next to him, but as she stepped forward, Jiangsun's hand pressed down on the stool where I used to sit. With a pull of his forearm, the stool was moved far away. "Maybe tomorrow, I haven't finished my paper yet," he said. Lin Xiaxia almost sat on nothing, thinking he was in a bad mood because he'd been scolded. She tried to comfort him. "Class leader, don't be sad. I know you're capable, you'll definitely top the grade in the next monthly exam again. Just stay away from those underachievers." "Lin Xiaxia," Jiangsun interrupted her, "you're the discipline monitor. Isn't it against the class rules to be talking during self-study?" Lin Xiaxia's eyes filled with tears as she timidly said, "Sorry. I know I was wrong." She then returned to her seat and quietly sobbed with her head down on the desk. I lost focus watching the two of them from behind. Lin Xiaxia was pretty, well-behaved, and had excellent grades. Only such an outstanding girl could match Jiangsun and lead him on the right path. Unfortunately, this bookworm didn't know how to cherish and appreciate her. Looks like I might have to intervene personally when necessary. Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from Jiangsun came through. "Room is ready, Rose Crystal A508. Make sure to bring the morning after pill." I don't like using that thing. I laughed angrily. No wonder he didn't come to evening study. This idiot must still think I'm playing some kind of game with him. "Keep that toothpick of yours for picking your teeth." I typed swiftly and without hesitation. I blacklisted him. Liking someone like him in my past life was a real hit to my intelligence. The next day, I dyed my pink hair back to black, my school skirt was irreversibly shortened, and I had no idea where I threw my jacket. I would have to wait until Monday to buy a new set from the school office. On my way to school, I ran into Qi Weilong, who lived in the same neighborhood. After looking around for a while, he finally focused on me. "Holy shit, Tang Jia, why did you dye your hair black?" he exclaimed. I approached him. "Does it look strange?" Qi Weilong's cheeks flushed as he scratched the back of his head. "Not really, it just looks purer." No, just not used to it." I ignored his comment and swiftly took the school jacket off his body. "Let me borrow it for a couple of days. I'll give it back to you after that," she said, and then put on the jacket. Qi Weilong's face turned even redder. "Sister Tang, you look like you're not wearing anything underneath that." Qi Weilong was tall, and his coat just covered my short skirt. After buttoning up, all that could be seen were my bare, pale legs under the oversized school jacket. I simply took off the jacket and tied it around my waist. "How about now?" "Much better," he replied. Qi Weilong and I walked to school side by side. He asked, "Nan is planning to fight with the guys from the vocational school next door tonight. What time will you go?" "I'm not going," I responded. The fight was triggered because someone from the vocational school whistled at Lin Xiaxia. And Xuan couldn't stand it, so he challenged them to a fight. In my previous life, worried that Xuan would be at a disadvantage, I skipped evening self-study to support him, but he ended up leaving to protect Lin Xiexia and left me there alone. If Jiangxin hadn't arrived later, I don't know what terrible things might have happened to me. I wouldn't be foolish enough to repeat such a thankless task. Oh, what will you do then? Qi Weilong asked curiously. Homework, I replied. Homework, did I hear that right? Su Tang isn't sticking to Nan anymore and is going to be a good student. A mocking laugh suddenly came from behind us. Qi Weilong and I turned around and saw Xuan and his lackey Su Rui stopped behind us on a motorbike. Su Rui continued to mock, look Nan. Su Tang even dyed her hair black, trying to imitate Lin Xiexia, right? Xuan had dark circles under his eyes, as if he hadn't slept well. He looked at me displeased and said, where were you last night? Didn't you know I waited for you all night? What I did last night is none of your business. Why should it matter to you that you waited? I was already annoyed from getting up early. I rolled my eyes and walked away. Su Tang. Xuan called out my name angrily. Su Rui patted Xuan's shoulder. Nan, can't you see? Su Tang is doing it on purpose. She knows you like Lin Xiexia, so she's trying to get your attention by imitating her. Look, Lin Xiexia has black hair, so she dyed hers black. Lin Xiexia is always aloof with you, so she acts the same. Lin Xiexia likes Jiangxin, so she purposely gets close to Qi Weilong. She probably thinks if she mimics Lin Xiexia, you'll like her. Su Rui shook his head knowingly. Women, you can't be too nice to them. Ignore her for a few days, and she'll come running back, begging to talk to you. Xuan's mood seemed to lighten. Such crafty little thoughts, he scoffed. She wants to be like Xiexia, what a joke. Then he revved the motorbike and sped away. The news that Xuan was going to fight with the vocational school quickly spread throughout the class. A girl said to Lin Xiexia, Xiexia, be careful, Xuan is fighting someone else for you, and some people are going to be really jealous. After saying that, both girls looked at me, but I was focused on my work, muttering, your magnesium took away my zinc, Mg plus CnSO4 equals MgSO4 plus Cn. The girl scoffed. You see, she pretends to be studying but actually, she's still thinking about confessing her feelings to Xuan, Lin Xiexia said as she glanced in Jiangxin's direction. Jiangxin also looked at me, but he quickly turned away, his gaze inscrutable. Biting her lip, Lin Xiexia raised her voice. Who Xuan fights with has nothing to do with me, don't drag me into it. With that, the girl fell silent. I had spent the whole day studying seriously and filled half a notebook with notes. However, there was so much I had missed that it made my head swim. So, after the last class in the afternoon, I slipped away alone to the rooftop to memorize vocabulary, but I ended up falling asleep. When I woke up, it was already dark. When I returned to the classroom for the evening self-study, both Lin Xiexia and Jiangxin were gone. I had a bad feeling and quickly asked Qi Weilong, where are they? Oh, Lin Xiexia left with brother Nan, he replied. I meant Jiangxin. Jiangxin, I don't know, when did you start caring so much about him? But it seems like after brother Nan and Lin Xiexia left, he disappeared too. Alarmed, I threw aside my English dictionary and ran out. Following my memory, I rushed to a deserted flat house area. By the time I got there, a fight was already in full swing. Standing on the outskirts of the crowd, I anxiously searched for Jiangxin. Su Rui, noticing me, smirked with a bruised lip. Look, brother Nan, who's here? I told you, how could Su Tang concentrate on studying when you're fighting here? Xuan's gaze fell on me, and he sneered. Su Tang, stop clinging to me, I don't have time to look after you right now. Before throwing a punch at a guy trying to grab Lin Xiexia, unexpectedly, the hefty guy, weighing over 200 pounds, didn't budge but instead lifted Xuan by the collar. Lin Xiexia screamed in fright. At that moment, I spotted Jiangxin struggling with someone nearby, so I ran through the crowd toward him. Just as I reached Xuan, he strained his neck and said, Su Tang, you don't need to. His words were cut off as I brushed past him and wrapped my arms around Jiangxin from behind. Jiangxin, watch out, as a fist was about to hit Jiangxin. He quickly turned around and shielded me, kicking the attacker. Xuan's words were still unspoken, his eyes filled with disbelief. In that moment of distraction, the hefty guy had already thrown him heavily to the ground. Xuan screamed in pain. I said, Jiangxin, run. Understanding, Jiangxin grabbed my hand, and we ran towards a distant place. Our pursuers relentlessly chased after us. Jiangxin and I dashed into an alley and found a hidden corner. The nook was so narrow that we had to press tightly against each other just to fit. I could even accidentally kiss his chin if I moved my head slightly. With Jiangxin's breath in my ears in this tense yet quiet moment, it felt ticklish and awkward. Gritting my teeth, I said, can you breathe a little quieter? Suddenly, Jiangxin laughed. Su Tang, you're pressing against me. I looked down, my chest pressed tightly against him, and my face flushed. I couldn't help but remember my role in this book as the simple-minded D-cup school beauty. Shut up, I muttered. It was a long while before the footsteps outside faded, and Jiangsen and I finally walked out of the alley. Did you get hurt? Jiangsen asked. I shook my head, then scolded, are you silly? People are fighting and showing off for Lin Xiaxia. Why are you joining in the fuss? Aren't you also here because of Xuan'an? And I couldn't care less about their issues. I fell asleep on the rooftop while memorizing English vocabulary. Did you think I came here to help Xuan'an fight? I reached out and pinched Jiang Sen's chin, looking from side to side. Fortunately, there was only one wound. Silly, didn't you think about it? What would a good student like you do if you got punished? Jiang Sen let me fuss over him obediently, his gaze firmly fixed on me. Su Tang, are you concerned about me? Nonsense, you're a good student with a bright future ahead. How could you be the same as us? Jiang Sen pursed his lips and remained silent, letting me take him to the pharmacy. I bought some antiseptic solution and cotton swabs, carefully applying the medicine to his wound, worried about hurting him. I leaned close to his face, gently blowing on his wound. As I straightened up, the silent Jiang Sen suddenly called out my name, Su Tang. You don't like good students, so what if I stop being one? Would that be okay? Jiang Sen sat on the pharmacy steps, looking up at me seriously. You dare? I was surprised he would consider such a thing. Being a good student is great. You'd be liked by teachers and classmates, you could go to a good university, get a good job, and make a lot of money, but you think I'm boring. Jiang Sen interrupted, his thick eyelashes drooping. Even being desk mates with me is unbearable for you. I couldn't explain to Jiang Sen that I had been reborn. Nor could I tell him how badly he had been hurt because of me in a past life. I just warned him to study hard and not entertain foolish thoughts, then walked off towards the school without another word, him following behind at a safe distance. As we passed a small park, a pained gasp suddenly came from inside. Turning my head, I saw that it was Xuan'an. He was sitting against a big tree, bruised and bloodied all over, even missing one shoe. Lin Xiaxia was nowhere to be found. Without my interference, the rebellious school bully had been beaten to this sorry state. Seeing me, Xuan'an's eyes lit up. Su Tang, you came to find me. Then he complained, why are you so slow? I stood still, arms crossed, chin up, looking down at his miserable state. After a long silence, Xuan'an seemed to realize I wasn't planning to help him. His expression soured. Su Tang, don't go too far. Come over now, and I'll let bygones be bygones for the past few days, otherwise you won't be able to handle the consequences. Handle what? Planning to punish me? Planning to dump me? Ignore me from now on? Or go after Lin Xiaxia or some other girl wholeheartedly? I laughed. Xuan'an? I couldn't ask for more. Xuan'an frowned. Su Tang, it's no fun if you push it too far. I shrugged and said to Jiang Sen, see, some people are better off left in the ground. Saving him is pointless. Let's go. With that, she grabbed Jiang Sen's hand and walked away. Su Tang. The boy behind her punched the ground in a final threat. If you walk away now, don't come crying to me later, begging for my attention. I never looked back. Xuan'an was hospitalized. Su Rui, who was only slightly injured, returned to school soon after and organized classmates to buy flowers and a fruit basket to visit him together. He saw me sitting indifferently at my desk reading a book. He then brazenly sat on my desk and said with a smirk, Su Tang, want a chance to show off? No thanks. I replied. Su Rui frowned. I haven't even said what it is yet. If it's about Xuan'an, save your breath. I'm not interested. Su Rui looked incredulous. Su Tang, Nan is hurt and in the hospital. He needs people to care for him. This would be your chance to get close to him. Why would I do that? He's not injured because of me. Oh, are you jealous? Su Rui said, feigning realization. Well, you can't compare to Lin Xiaxia, but you're better at sucking up. Maybe if you keep at it, Nan might be moved. Get lost. I kicked him off the desk. Keep babbling, and also your mouth shut. Xuan'an had many brothers, and they all respectfully called me as Sister Tang. Many even admired me as the potential or real sister-in-law. Only Su Rui, whenever he saw me, would either mock or jeer, as if I had desecrated his family grave. You just don't get it, Su Rui said, clutching his sore butt. He got fed up and tried to find Lin Xiaxia, but after several rounds, he couldn't locate her. The classroom was buzzing with chatter. I took my physics textbook and went looking for a quiet place to read. Unexpectedly, I found Jiang Sen and Lin Xiaxia in an abandoned activity room. I quickly hid myself. I heard Lin Xiaxia speaking softly to Jiang Sen. Jiang Sen, were you hurt yesterday? I was so worried, but I couldn't reach you. I'm fine. Did you come here just to say this? Lin Xiaxia nervously clutched the hem of her skirt, took a deep breath as if gathering courage before speaking. I hate Xuan'an and Su Tang's crowd. They're violent, mindless, with nothing but bad habits. Hanging out with them, nothing good will come of it. Jiang Sen, we're not like them. We need to stay far away from them too. Lin Xiaxia. Jiang Sen, with one hand in his pocket, His skin almost sickly pale and eyes dark under old-fashioned glasses, looked as still as a pond. If you hate Xuanan, just stay away, you don't need to report to me, but if you're trying to convince me to avoid Su Tang, sorry, I have no such plans. With that, he turned to leave. Lin Xiexia quickly blocked his path, her eyes slightly red and stubborn like a little rabbit. Yes, I admit Su Tang is interesting, while everyone else is buried in their studies, looking all dull and dusty. She stands out beautifully, the school forbids dyeing hair, but she dyes hers a striking pink, and despite the dress code, she shortens her skirt, she wears makeup, smokes, skips classes, fights, swears. Jiang Xin has always been the center of discussion among the boys at school, Lin Xiexia said earnestly. But Jiang Xin, you're not like her, she takes pleasure in tricking people, and seeing you being played makes her happiest. Last time it was your grades that slipped. And this time it's getting involved in fights, she's going to drag you down sooner or later. Jiang Xin, I'm trying to help you, to steer you back on the right path, she continued. Are you done? Jiang Xin finally showed a hint of impatience. You like me, is that it? You think you're my kind of person? He strode towards Lin Xiexia with long steps. Do you really know me? He challenged. Just because I'm good at studies and have helped you with a couple of problems. And because I almost always help out other classmates and am favored by the teachers, you think I'm just a good student? Pressed against the wall with no way to retreat, Lin Xiexia bit her lip, her voice trembling. Isn't that the case? Jiang Xin smirked, his long arm reaching past her ear to thump against the wall behind her, causing her to flinch. I have 276 pictures of Su Tang in my phone, every night. I need to look at those photos to fall asleep, he confessed. The scraps of fabric from her dressmaking are under my pillow, and I don't know how many times I've kissed and caressed them. She said she likes my fingers. I've thought about making them into a specimen for her, he continued. I'm crazier than Xuanan. Pretending to be a good student just to not scare her off. Lin Xiexia, now, do you still dare say you like me? He asked. Lin Xiexia covered her mouth, trembling with fright and tears streaming down her face. Finally, she pushed Jiang Xin away and ran out, stunned. I stood there, only to meet the gaze of the person opposite me. Have you heard enough? Jiang Xin asked. I stepped back involuntarily, but Jiang Xin walked right up to me. The facade of the good student was shattered. The celebrated university idol was actually a hidden madman, his fingers curled slightly, veins subtly prominent on his pale hands. Suppressing my panic, I asked, are you scared of me? Instead of feeling scared, I calmed down. I've known Jiang Xin through 2 lifetimes. I know how tender and restrained he can be, how sincerely he treats me. I know this better than anyone. No. I quickly shook my head. I wouldn't be scared of you, no matter what. After a pause, I added, Jiang Xin, I still like you best when you're studying. Confident and dazzling, I want to be your desk mate again. Can you help me get into Tsinghua University? Jiang Xin looked at me in surprise. Su Tang, a promise is a promise, of course. I reached out and hooked my little finger with his. Lying is for puppies. And so, I moved back to my original seat, becoming Jiang Xin's desk mate once again. I thought to myself, if even Lin Xiexia, a top student, can't win Jiang Xin's heart and guide him back to the right path, then it should be me. The original instigator, who should do it. Last time, I even caused him to miss the college entrance examination. This time, I want to personally watch Jiang Xin get into the highest educational institution, to see him shine, succeed in his career, and live a happy and fulfilling life. If he's willing, that is, I'll stay by his side. If he ever gets tired of me, I'll take the initiative to leave. In this lifetime, it's my turn to stand by him. I began dedicating all my time to my studies and also to encouraging Jiang Xin in his. Jiang Xin would explain problems to me. He's sharp-witted. And even the hardest questions seemed simple with his explanations. With his help, I was able to solve several fill-in-the-blank questions on my own and even scored 63 out of 150 on a math quiz. Jiang Xin bought some osmanthus candies from the north of the city to encourage me. I lay listlessly on the desk, 150 points total, and I scored 63. Despite my previous bold claims of aiming for Tsinghua University, Jiang Xin didn't burst out laughing. He patted my back, comforting me. Don't rush. Take it slowly. Sometimes, when I got really frustrated with problem solving or when my craving for a smoke became unbearable, I'd lose it. Jiang Xin would just let me be. Are you feeling unwell? Do you want some candy to suppress it? He was always quick to notice when something was off with me. I showed my fangs, looking fierce. Candy is too sweet. I feel like biting someone instead. Jiang Xin actually unzipped his jacket, rolled up his sleeve, and brought it to my mouth. Go ahead, bite. When I hesitated, he offered his other arm, or perhaps this one. You asked for it, I said as I grabbed his arm and left a bite mark on his forearm. Jiang Xin didn't even flinch. I wondered if he was a wooden man, feeling no pain. Jiang Xin, during class today, you looked at me more than a dozen times. You weren't focusing on your studies. Biting you is a punishment. If you don't get back to being the top student in this month's test, see how I'll deal with you. Jiang Xin chuckled. Don't worry, looking at you won't stop me from getting into Tsinghua. I pouted. You'd better. As the monthly exam approached, Xuan was discharged from the hospital. After not seeing him for over half a month, he had lost a lot of weight. And a long scar stretched from his left eyebrow to the corner of his eye. The scar was deep and likely hard to completely heal, although it wasn't disfiguring. Xuan, who had always been vain about his looks, found it quite distressing. Moreover, probably because Lin Xiaxia had abandoned him during their last fight, he was much colder to her when he returned. Once, when they bumped into each other, Lin Xiaxia finally mustered the courage to say, "Xuan, I'm planning to go to Tsinghua University. You fighting and getting hurt for me only seems childish and doesn't touch me. I could never like someone like you." Xuan didn't react much, merely saying, "I know," before walking past her. Meanwhile, I kept pestering Jiangxin about our studies, following him even to the cafeteria to ask about problems I didn't understand from class. I wore my hair in a ponytail and a school uniform skirt that went past my knees. No more skipping classes. No more fighting, no more smoking, no more wasting my youth with Xuan and that crowd. One weekend, while Jiangxin and I were working on homework in a fast food restaurant, Xuan and his group came in to order. They seemed to have just smoked outside, the smell of mint mixed with nicotine spreading around. After being reborn, I abandoned my childhood friend and confessed to the school bully who had secretly loved me but never expressed it in my previous life. Jiangxin noticed my distress. He naturally rolled up his sleeves, revealing a section of his forearm. "I didn't bring any candy. If you're feeling bad, bite me." I couldn't help but laugh and quipped, "They stink to high heaven." Then I leaned closer to his neck and took a sniff. "Jiangxin, you still smell nice." Jiangxin's body tensed up, and the tips of his ears turned red involuntarily. He pretended to be serious and said, "Focus on doing the questions." "Yes, Mr. Class Monitor." Su Rui, who had just picked up his meal, happened to see this scene. He couldn't help but complain to Xuan, "How long is Su Tang going to keep acting? I don't know why, but I don't think she's acting now. It seems like she really likes Jiangxin." Xuan face turned ugly. He turned around and went to the door to smoke. However, the lighter didn't work after several tries. Su Rui shouted from behind, "Brother Nan, aren't you going to eat?" Xuan became increasingly irritable. "No. I've lost my appetite." 8. The next day after school, Xuan unexpectedly stopped me at the school gate. He was riding a motorcycle, and the scar on his eyebrow bone added a bit of ferocity. He was as arrogant as ever. He looked at me sideways and said, "You haven't taken the initiative to find me or say a word to me for so long. Su Tang, you have quite a bit of patience." I looked at him, completely confused. What the hell was he talking about? I was busy preparing for the college entrance examination. When did I have the time to pay attention to him? I was too lazy to waste words and was about to leave when I heard Xuan sigh. As if he had let down his heavy defenses, he said in a tone of helplessness I had never heard before, "Fine. Su Tang, you've achieved your goal." "I agree." I was even more confused. "Agree to what?" "Don't you always want to be my girlfriend?" "I agree. It was rash of me to ask you to seduce Jiangxin before. I admit that when you rushed over to protect Jiangxin during the fight last time, I was extremely annoyed. From now on, you don't need to pay attention to him. The game is over. From now on, you'll be the only one who can be my girlfriend. There won't be any more Lin Xiaxia, nor any other girls." I was speechless. Initially, I did have an ulterior motive when approaching Jiangxin. At that time, I was head over heels in love with Xuan, willing to offer him my whole heart. He was also extremely annoyed because Lin Xiaxia liked Jiangxin, so he said to me, "Want to be my girlfriend? Fine, then go seduce Jiangxin. If he falls in love with you, then I'll date you." I took his words seriously and immediately became Jiangxin's deskmate, but that was in the past. Now, sorry, I'm not really interested in the position of your girlfriend anymore. Xuan frowned. "Su Tang, do you not understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about being the legitimate girlfriend. Can being your girlfriend add points to the college entrance examination, or can being your girlfriend get me recommended to Tsinghua University?" He made it sound like it was some great favor. My patience ran out. Just then, Jiangxin showed up. I waved to Jiangxin and said, "Wait for me. Let's go home together." I was about to leave, but Xuan grabbed my arm. He almost gritted his teeth and said, "Su Tang, I've told you the game is over. Why are you still paying attention to him? Who's playing a game with you?" I was completely enraged. "I liked you before, so I stuck to you. Now I like him, so I stick to him. Is that so hard to understand?" "Xuan, I can change my heart too. Who says I can only like you for the rest of my life?" "You?" Xuan's eyes were filled with disbelief. His mouth opened and closed several times, but in the end, he didn't say a word. At this moment, Jiangxin walked over. He looked at Xuan indifferently, as if he was looking at a disgusting cockroach. "Su Tang, don't stay with someone who only got 3 points in physics. It might be contagious." I quickly shook off Xuan's hand, took out a tissue, and wiped the place Xuan had touched with a look of disgust. I had just passed the physics exam. I couldn't afford to regress. After doing all this, I took the initiative to hold Jiangxin's hand and asked seriously, "If I touch the hand of a top student more often, Will I get a few more points in the exam? Jiang Sin couldn't help but chuckle. Maybe. Behind us, Xue Nanyu's arm dropped, and his eyes landed on the hands of Jiang Sin and me, which were intertwined. His gaze was sharp, as if he wanted to chop us. 8. The monthly exam ended. Jiang Sin regained his throne as the first in the city. I also advanced more than 100 places from the bottom 10. Everything was going as I hoped, as the college entrance examination approached. Xue Nanyu suddenly treated me well. He was as gentle and patient with me as he had been with Lin Xiaxia. He brought me breakfast, gave me hair ties, and waited at the school gate in the evening to send me home. I ignored him every time. Then he started to target Jiang Sin deliberately. Even during a school basketball game, he teamed up with Su Rui to trip Jiang Sin up. Even though Jiang Sin had excellent skills, he couldn't withstand the two of them playing dirty together. When Jiang Sin jumped up to shoot, they deliberately jumped up and crashed into him, with a loud thud. Both Jiang Sin and Xue Nanyu fell heavily to the ground. I rushed onto the court, stopped the game, and ran to Jiang Sin's side to help him up. Are you okay? I'm fine. Jiang Sin's calf was injured. I lifted his arm and put it around my neck. Lean on me, hold tight, I'll take you to the infirmary. Su Rui shouted from behind. Hey, Su Tang. Didn't you see that Brother Nan is also injured? Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Xue Nanyu sitting on the ground. His arm hung down in a distorted position. It seemed to be broken, and his eyes were fixed on me. I said hatefully, tell him to go to hell. There was an uproar in the arena. I don't know who said, wasn't Su Tang Xue Nanyu's admirer? She actually cursed him for Jiang Sin. Could it be that she's with Jiang Sin? Holy crap, Jiang Sin is a well-known cold and aloof top student in No. 1 middle school. How could he fall for her? Come on, Su Tang is as enchanting as a fairy. Who wouldn't be attracted to her? That's true, actually. I've also dreamt about Su Tang at night, and Xue Nanyu couldn't bear it anymore. Shut the fuck up, all of you. We arrived at the infirmary. I squatted on the ground to check Jiang Sin's wound. Fortunately, it was just a scratch. I was angry and scared. Fortunately, it's not his hand that's hurt. Fortunately, it wasn't his hand. The hand that held the pen, the hand that could change his future. Otherwise, I'd fight Xue Nanyu to the death. Jiang Sin laughed after hearing this. What are you laughing at? You're injured and still laughing. I'm happy. I frowned. What's there to be happy about? Jiang Sin's eyes sparkled. You chose me. Between me and Xue Nanyu, you chose me. You should have seen Xue Nanyu's expression just now. He looked as ugly as if he had swallowed 5 toads. I couldn't help but laugh too. If you're this easy to please, you'll probably be happy for a lifetime. What? I stood up, leaned close to Jiang Sin's ear, and said, because you, Jiang Sin, will be my top priority for the rest of my life. Su Tang's life? Jiang Sin's eyes flickered. You're lying. I answered quickly. If I'm lying, I'm a puppy. 9. Xue Nanyu was hospitalized again. And I focused all my attention on Jiang Sin. I watched over him like a mother animal protecting her cubs, paying close attention to every little thing around him. I made sure Su Rui and others couldn't get close. I would never allow an accident, like what happened in the basketball court, to happen again. As the time for the college entrance examination got closer, I made nutritious brain, boosting meals for Jiang Sin every day. I also paid attention to his health, worrying that he might get too hot or too cold and get sick, which could affect his exam. Rumors spread in No. 1 middle school that Jiang Sin and I were in a relationship. One day, Jiang Sin was called to the dean's office for a lecture. I was nervous and didn't even eat dinner well. Half an hour later, Jiang Sin came back. His pocket was bulging. He took out a sandwich and gave it to me. My stomach growled inappropriately. I knew you'd be worried and not eat well. I took the sandwich and asked, what did the dean want from you? Jiang Sin said. Su Rui reported that we're in a relationship. The dean is afraid that you'll affect my studies, so he asked me not to be your deskmate anymore and to stay away from you in the future. That snitch. I pounded the table in anger, then quickly asked, what did you say? Jiang Sin elongated his voice and reached out to pinch my cheek. I'm not as heartless as someone. I thought of the time when I moved to the corner at the back and felt a bit guilty. Did the dean agree? He promised me that if you advance 100 places in this mock exam, he won't change our seats. Really? I became energetic and quickly opened my workbook. Then I'll definitely study hard and not let down the top students' good intentions. Su Rui's report didn't drive Jiang Sin and me apart. Instead, it inspired my fighting spirit. I studied even more diligently. Forgetting about food and sleep, a week later, Xue Nanyu returned to school. Last time, he maliciously crashed into Jiang Sin, but luckily, Jiang Sin only had a bruised calf, while he had a broken forearm. His right arm was in a cast, and he looked even thinner. Su Rui went to the school gate to pick him up and they walked back to the class together. Coincidentally, we met on the way. The 3 of us stopped. Su Rui was the first to speak and sneered. Su Tang, I thought your feelings for Brother Nan were so deep and firm, but now it seems they're nothing. No wonder Brother Nan never liked you. You're not even a fraction as good as Lin Xiaxia. I smiled faintly, ignored Xue Nanyu's gaze, and walked straight up to Su Rui, the snitch. I stared into his eyes quietly. Su Rui, you like me, don't you? It wasn't a rhetorical question, but a statement. Su Rui reacted strongly. He stepped back 2 steps in a hurry. As if I were some kind of virus or plague that would kill him if he got infected. What are you talking about? Oh my god, Su Tang, you're so ridiculous. How could I like you? Among Brother Nan's girlfriends, you're the one I dislike the most. Yes, I continued. Your brother Nan has had so many girlfriends, even Lin Xiaxia, who never looked at him directly. You were polite to her, but only to me. You've never had a good attitude. When I had a fight with Xue Nanyu, you sneered at me. When Xue Nanyu chased other girls, you came to annoy me as soon as possible. When Xue Nanyu was a bit nicer to me, you immediately went to speak ill of me in his ear. Su Rui, your behavior is just like that of the naughtiest boy in the class who deliberately teases the girl he likes to attract her attention. You call him Brother Nan all the time, but in fact, when you see me sticking to him, you're extremely jealous, aren't you? Xue Nanyu's face changed suddenly. He stared at Su Rui intently. Su Rui's face turned bright red. He shook his head quickly. No, I didn't, Brother Nan, believe me. How could I possibly? Xue Nanyu stretched out his hand. Give me your phone. Su Rui tightly covered his pocket. Brother Nan, what do you want my phone for? I really didn't. Xue Nanyu didn't waste any more words. He directly snatched Su Rui's phone and opened it. When he scrolled to the contacts page, I was his special attention. Even our WeChat, which we had added for almost 3 years but never chatted with, was his top pinned chat. Su Rui's face turned pale. He was like a thief living in the shadows, maintaining a mean and venomous image, using the most vulgar means, secretly longing for his big brother's woman. Seeing Xue Nanyu dislike Su Tang because of his words, he felt perversely pleased. Xue Nanyu gritted his teeth. Su Rui, you're really something. You gave me those lousy ideas before. You were deliberately trying to drive a wedge between me and Su Tang, weren't you? No wonder Su Tang was ignoring me more and more. So it was you who was up to something. The phone was smashed to pieces. Xue Nanyu lashed out, punching Su Rui again and again. There was already Jiang Sen, and now even his own little brother was coveting her. Su Tang, Su Tang. Why did so many people like his Su Tang? Su Rui was beaten until he couldn't get up. When he saw my mocking eyes, he somehow found the courage to punch Xue Nanyu back. He said, tearing off the mask, yes, I do like her, but I can only think about it in my heart. Why do you have the audacity to bully her like this? The two of them immediately started fighting. What a dog-eat-dog situation. I'm so happy, but I didn't have the patience to watch any longer. I still had half a chemistry test paper left to finish. I still needed to advance 100 places in this mock exam. The fight between Xue Nanyu and Su Rui quickly alarmed the school, and they were both given punishments. Jiang Sen asked me, how did you know Su Rui liked you? I was chewing on osmanthus candy. I didn't know, I just guessed. I propped my chin up, twirling a ballpoint pen between my fingers. He was just acting so strange. I'm so beautiful and cute. How could anyone really hate me? There must be something fishy when things are abnormal. Even if he didn't like me, I could plant a seed of doubt in Xue Nanyu's heart. Their little clique was bound to fall apart sooner or later. Jiang Sen was defeated by me, but he also nodded in agreement.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't like you? Our Su Tang is the most lovable. After the mock exam, I advanced 180 places as expected, exceeding the task. I managed to keep my seat next to the top student. Even the head teacher and the dean, who usually didn't think much of me, praised me unexpectedly. They even used me as a positive example to teach the bad students in the school who were just fooling around all day. Everything was going as I had planned. The day before the college entrance examination, Xue Nanyu, who had long been expelled from school, was waiting for me at the entrance of my community. I didn't want to have too much to do with him and was going to walk around him. Xue Nanyu seemed to see my intention and directly said, Su Tang, I'm really curious about one thing. What do you think Jiang Sen would do if I send him the chat records of me asking you to seduce him? I turned around and stared at him intently. Xue Nanyu put one hand in his pocket and looked at me with a self-deprecating expression. Finally, you're willing to stop and look at me properly and listen to what I have to say. I didn't say anything. I walked straight up to him and swung my arm, hitting extremely speechless. Xue Nanyu, I'm not someone who has never loved you, but you trampled on my sincerity. Now that I've changed my heart, don't like you anymore, and don't want to revolve around you, you come chasing after me and do all these despicable things to threaten me. Is that interesting? Seeing that I was angry, Xue Nanyu quickly reached out to grab my hand. Su Tang, I just want to start over with you. I want you to give me a chance, but you don't even want to see me or talk to me. Do you know how suffering I am? In the past, without me even saying a word, just one look from me, you would be so distressed. I impatiently shook off his hand. Xue Nanyu, it's too late. I've fallen in love with Jiang Sen. Xue Nanyu's hand dropped, slowly hanging down by his side and clenching tightly into a fist. Jealousy flashed in his eyes. I heard from Lin Xiaxia that Jiang Sen has a mental illness. He usually acts like a normal person, but in fact, He's an emotionally unstable lunatic inside. Do you think he'll go crazy if he knows our secret? Can he still take the exam normally tomorrow? I frowned. Su Tang, let's make a deal. I'll keep this secret to myself and won't disturb him until the exam is over, and you, come back to me. I was silent, but then Jiangxin showed up. Xue Nanyu sneered. I invited him here. At such an important moment, there should always be a witness, right, Su Tang? This time, I'm putting the choice in your hands. Whether to tell him or not is up to you. The only trump card he had to control me was finally revealed on the eve of the college entrance examination. Scumbag. I cursed. Su Tang, even when you curse, you look so beautiful, Xue Nanyu said with an infatuated look. And then he didn't forget to remind me, he's walking towards us, you don't have much time to think. The person diagonally opposite was getting closer and closer. Xue Nanyu impatiently tapped his watch and deliberately turned to Jiangxin and said, Jiangxin, Su Tang has something to tell you. Jiangxin shifted his gaze to me. I took a deep breath. There was no way to avoid it. Jiangxin, I said. The corners of Xue Nanyu's mouth curled up faintly. After going around in circles, what was his would still be his. Everything was back to the starting point. Nothing had changed. Jiangxin. Xue Nanyu looked at me expectantly. Can you? His heart was screaming. Say it quickly, be my boyfriend. Xue Nanyu's smile froze on his face. He suspected that he had heard wrong. Su Tang, what are you talking about? I looked at Jiangxin seriously. Will you? No, this isn't the way the plot should develop, Xue Nanyu said, standing between us. Tomorrow is the college entrance examination, he reminded me. Su Tang, think carefully before you speak. I looked indifferent. So what if it's the college entrance examination? Xue Nanyu was shocked. You don't care, how is that possible? You've been protecting Jiangxin like a mother hen protecting her chicks, keeping me and Su Rui away, isn't it because you're afraid something will happen to him in the college entrance examination? What are you up to now? I slowly walked up to Jiangxin and looked at Xue Nanyu like he was an idiot. Dude, don't you know there's a term called recommended admission? Xue Nanyu was stunned. Recommended admission? I shook my head. No wonder you only got 3 points in physics. Even if you get cured, you'll still drool. Xue Nanyu was so angry that his eyes turned red. He simply didn't care about anything anymore and said harshly, Jiangxin, do you know why Su Tang became your deskmate? It was my idea. Do you know how much she liked me? I just said I hated you and asked her to seduce you, and she obediently did it. Her kindness to you was all an act. She doesn't care about you at all. You're just a part of our game. He took out his phone and showed the screenshots from that time. Look, the evidence is still in my hands. Compared to Xue Nanyu's excitement and sarcasm, Jiangxin's expression was quite calm. He didn't even look at the phone and just said, I know, but so what? Xue Nanyu stared. You don't mind, Jiangxin. Su Tang is so cute. Which boy in the class doesn't want to be her deskmate? But she chose me, which means I'm special to her. Xue Nanyu. No, don't you understand? I'm saying she was calculating you, Jiangxin. Then why didn't she calculate you? Is it because she doesn't like you, Xue Nanyu? Are you out of your mind? You're such a lovesick fool, Jiangxin. Anyone would be infatuated when they meet someone like Su Tang. Oh, Jiangxin continued expressionlessly. Some people aren't lovesick. Look, their girlfriend ran away. Xue Nanyu was so angry that his face twitched. You're sick, completely incurable. Xue Nanyu left. Before leaving, his eyes landed on me. Su Tang, I wasn't loyal in the past. I liked many girls and hurt your heart. So this time, I'll allow you to have a little fling. When you get tired of Jiangxin, come back to me. I'll always be waiting for you. I didn't answer. The college entrance examination passed quickly. Although Jiangxin had already received the recommended admission quota to Tsinghua University, he still took the college entrance examination and became the top scorer in science in our province, and although I studied hard, I had fallen too far behind in my studies before, and my score was only enough for an ordinary second-tier university. After Xue Nanyu learned the news, he called me from someone else's phone. Su Tang, long-distance relationships are the most of human nature. You and Jiangxin are destined to be in 2 different worlds. You didn't do well in the exam, why don't you go abroad to study with me? Before I could answer, Jiangxin snatched the phone from me. Don't bother. Both Tsinghua University and Peking University are vying for me. The only condition for my enrollment is that I must bring my girlfriend, and they both agreed. There was a long silence on the other end, and finally, Xue Nanyu gritted his teeth and said, So what if you're good at studying? Jiangxin said, I don't know, but it's quite easy to find a girlfriend, anyway. With a snap, the phone was thrown on the other end. In the end, I didn't go to Tsinghua University with Jiangxin. Instead, I chose to repeat my senior year of high school and was admitted to the journalism major of my dream university. I knew I wasn't cut out for the top-tier universities, so I didn't want to take up the spots that should belong to others. 6 years later, a new rising star in Beijing's scientific research field and the most beautiful meteorological anchor got married. In front of the wedding poster at the hotel entrance, a man with a scar on his right eyebrow bone took a photo with the bride in the photo. The end of the full text. Jiang Sen's Diary Theater. Su Tang dyed her hair pink and shortened her school uniform skirt. Her ankles are very thin and white, with a red string bell around them. The boys in the class are all talking about her. And even the boys from the neighboring schools come to see her. It's really hard to bear. Her bleached hair breaks easily. She likes to take the broken hair and tickle others' nostrils with it, and then laugh heartily, but she never teases me. Why do I seem boring? I really want her hair. If I pull it directly, will she feel pain? Su Tang got the last place in the exam and was scolded until she cried. I got the first place in the grade. Everyone started passing around my notes. When it reached her, she drew a big turtle on it. I like the sound of the bell on her ankle. I want it to keep ringing. Under me, keep ringing. The big turtle is so cute.